Yo, I'm Ryan Fila, and this is exactly how Cusco got started, right here. Let me tell you the story.
Big dog status, I'm a big dog, I pull up on the block in a big Corvette, ride around the city with a stick all black, try with a dope, we with all that.
We're about to embark on an adventure to find the birthplace of the Incan Empire. But before we do that, I think it's important to give you some background information. Cusco was the Incan capital city and was founded around the year 1200. That moment, when the Incas decided to make Cusco the capital city, that's the moment we're searching for on this bike ride. Today, Cusco is still nestled in the Andes Mountains as Peru's 7th largest city with roughly 500,000 residents at 11,000 feet in altitude. Now, after scavenging through potential stories to tell in this region, I stumbled upon one extremely interesting piece of history: the story of the Hermanos Ayar. Okay, so today we're on a journey to find one of the original civilizations with my man Hugo. He's gonna take us around on some electronic motorbikes up into the Andes.
Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in the cage, I'ma let out the hood.
The origin story of Cusco is unique, and there are so many legends about how the Incas actually discovered Cusco. But today we're gonna tell one in specific. But first you gotta understand the importance of Inti. Inti is the god of the sun. So Inti, the god of the sun, had 8 kids. Make sure I don't crash at the same time. Inti had 8 kids, 4 sons and 4 daughters. And technically they were all married as well. So each son was married to his sister. Basically, the goal of these 8 kids was to go out into the Sacred Valley, the area around Cusco, and find fertile land. Yo, these e-bikes are the way to go. We've been going uphill almost this whole trip, and I ain't even tired. But doing it one hand is kind of tough. So as the story goes, there were people living around Titicaca Lake, and they were savages. These aren't my words, these are the words of the legend. The people were savages, so Inti said he would send his kids there to find civilization, find fertile land, and help civilize these people because, of course, they didn't have religion. I got water all up in my shoe for that shot. I hope it was worth it. Now, when the 8 kids first got here, Inti gave them a golden staff, which they were supposed to tap into the ground every so often, and the place where it sank is where they were supposed to set up the epicenter for the new civilization. Now, one of these brothers was a badass. Basically, he took a shot like this with the equivalent of a bow and arrow, and he shot down a mountain, blew it up, and created a ravine. And the rest of the siblings didn't quite like that. They got a little jealous. They locked him in a cave, put a rock in front of it, and left him to die. A lot like the Jesus story, but this time there was no resurrection. This is security up in the mountains. Now the others continued on until they found Mount Wanakauri, where they found a big stone statue that they basically thought was something that they could worship, that was important to them. And then one of the brothers thought it was funny, so he jumped behind the stone, and the legend says he immediately turned into stone himself. We were biking on our way down, and a part of the story that I told earlier about the one brother jumping behind the statue and being stoned, this is supposed to be it. Yeah, this is supposed to be his stoned body. Now, with only 2 brothers left, and presumably all 4 sisters, the story usually doesn't say much about the sisters because it's olden times and women get the short end of the stick. I'm sorry, women. But around Pampa del Sol, the 3rd brother just randomly turned to stone as well. And all that was left was 4 sisters and the 1 brother. At this point, it feels a lot like a Netflix show where one character just has to die for the story to continue and to finish right. These small, like, communities, this one looks abandoned, but they always interest me. I wonder what the stories are behind them, how long they were here, where the people went, and why they're abandoned, how they got food, what life was like. Just interesting. Manco Capac.
Manco Capac, Mama Odio.
Now this is where the story gets interesting. The last brother that comes down is Manco Capac and his wife and sister Mama Ojio, with the other 3 sisters potentially. Well, I broke the bike, so now we're pushing. I don't know what happened. All of a sudden I couldn't push the pedals anymore. So here I am pushing the whole bike. Almost to the top, this is an offering to the earth. There's flowers and cocoa leaves in here. Okay, so a few years ago, I decided that I wasn't going to drink anything because of basically the view from younger people looking at me is the same as everyone else drinking. But today is a really special occurrence. Today is a really special event. And my man, Hugo, has hidden 2 beers out here in the middle of the Andes Mountains before we came out here, and I just happened to be with him when we came back. So I'm gonna share a beer with him up here in the Andes Mountains. This man just hid them out in the middle of nowhere. Is it good? It looks broken. You didn't hide them right next to each other. Well, here's the first one. Oh, it is pretty warm.
Okay, this is so cool. Whoops. Salud. For the Pachamama.
For the Pachamama. And for Dad.
La Pachamama quiere más.
Dogs are the security system out here. Okay, so we just got to the top and there's a small city where they finally set up, but we can't get in because they're doing a lot of work down here and they've had some problems with people coming in and trying to steal stuff and find like archaeological items. So we're gonna go up this hill to the top where they actually got the golden staff into the ground. At least so the legend says. We just got to this peak and I don't even know how to capture this. It's just a 360 unreal view of the Andes Mountains. And up here you can see all of the offerings to the earth again. You have flowers, coca leaves over there. Have some food, even pills. ¿Qué es esos?
Chocolates.
Chocolates, chocolates. Chocolates for gifts as well. They're actually still looking for the gold rod. That's what those guys are doing down there. While they're rebuilding it for tourism, they're looking for archaeological signs of the legend itself. It's crazy to see that they're doing it right now. Now, like I said, this is one of many legends of how Cusco started, but this is probably the main story, yeah?
Yes.
The main legend.
Yes.
Now, who knows if this legend is true or not? It's basically impossible to prove or disprove with 100% certainty. What I do know is regardless of how this city began, it continues to prosper deep in the Andes Mountains, and most people on Earth will never get to see it. So as I stand, overlooking these mountains and valleys that go on as far as the eye can see, I can't help but be overwhelmed with the amount of stones left to turn over in my own life. A tough reality for me to face is that there are an infinite amount of stones to turn over throughout life, and my time on Earth will expire long before I have the opportunity to turn over each one individually. We have to make decisions in life, and each opportunity that we take means that we're turning down an infinite amount of other opportunities. That's the reality. If you're like me and you feel pressure and anxiety from that idea, I think that's normal. You're missing out on an infinite amount of life. But so is everyone else. That doesn't mean you're losing. Where I believe you start losing in life is when you choose to stop turning over stones completely. When you see options, but you walk by them without searching, that's when you lose. The longer you freeze and stop pushing your limits, the more time you waste. And time, that's limited, non-refundable, and never stops. These are the kind of travel videos I like to do. This place is unique and I couldn't find a single video online in English about this place. And that's what Turning Stones is all about. Finding those places internally and externally that you're afraid to go, that are unique, that tell a story. Whatever that means for you, I hope you turn some stones. And at the end of your life, I hope your goal is to leave no stone left unturned. I'm Ryan Fila, this is Turning Stones. Hugo, thank you so much. Hugo wants you to come out and check this place out. He said that he told his son that when he dies, he wants to have his ashes spread right here. And I can see why. Anyways, until next time, I hope you try to live your dream, and I'll meet you there. Peace. This man's a legend. He's riding my broken bike and got it fixed enough so the motor would work and he can at least pedal it. I had to push him a little bit at the top of the hill, but now we're going downhill and it's game on. This is what I've been waiting for. Oh, easy. Well, I had my first official drone crash. Is it okay? Everything looks intact. And that is why you put the guard on it, regardless. I don't care how cocky you get. These things are 1,200 bucks.